going to cross to the UN Ocean Summit. Talk to co-founder and executive director Jojo Mehta of Stop Ecocide International. Fingers crossed it's going to work this time. Let me ask you why you co-founded your organisation, why you thought it was needed right at the beginning of it.
Hi there. Yeah, good to hear you. Good to be with you. We basically exist to move forward this particular initiative to recognise the most serious harms to nature and to our vital ecosystems as serious crimes, as ecocide. When we look at the state of the planet, when we look at the deterioration of biodiversity, that we look at the climate crisis, we are seeing that the environmental regulations we have in place are inadequate. And this is fundamentally a cultural issue. We don't take damage to nature seriously enough. We don't fully recognise how much we are interdependent with the natural world. And so looking for systemic levers that can shift that perspective in a rapid fashion. Criminal law has particular power to do that. It taps into what we consider acceptable and not acceptable, what we consider right and wrong. And it also, of course, gives us the possibility to hold individuals accountable for and responsible for damage. And that, of course, has a huge deterrent potential that regulatory law simply doesn't have. When a board of directors has to think about their own reputation and freedom, and of course, by consequence, the reputation and stock value of their corporation, they're going to think very carefully before taking decisions that lead to really severe harm. And of course, that helps to send financial flows in the right direction, because of course it's not legal to ensure or to financially support crimes.
To give us an idea of some of the laws, some of the regulations that you've worked on since the organisation was created.
So what we've been working towards is the addition of ecocide to the list of international crimes at the International Criminal Court. What we did in 2021 was convene an international panel of top lawyers to draft a legal definition of ecocide. And they came out with a consensus definition in 2021, which has actually triggered developments all around the world, not just at the international level, but at the national level and at the regional level. So we're now seeing proposals for ecocide law being submitted to parliaments in many jurisdictions, from Belgium to Brazil. In fact, Belgium's indeed been the first country to adopt ecocide as an international level crime within their federal law. But we've also seen that the European Environmental Crime Directive include a qualified offence that addresses some conduct that they describe as comparable to ecocide, and that's the first time that's appeared in EU law. We've recently seen a convention emerge from the Council of Europe, which is 46 member states, which also includes a section on particularly serious offences, which is effectively ecocide, but without using the term. And most importantly, at the International Criminal Court level, there are now several states actively proposing an amendment to add ecocide to that list of crimes. And that's coming from a group of Pacific Island states, Vanuatu, Fiji, and Samoa. And they've been joined very strongly by the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is leading in the African conversation on this. And what we're seeing is ecocide law becoming a kind of key point, a kind of spear tip, if you like, in a convergence of legal approaches that are addressing ecological and climate crisis. And it's one of the key ways in which we are seeing a shift beginning to happen in people's understanding of our responsibility to the natural world.
You've been at that summit for the week there in Nice. I mean, the kind of conversations, the kind of discussions that you've heard, I mean, do you think it's going in the right direction? What's to prevent it just being a talking shop and actually nothing happening at the end of the day?
Well, I mean, I think that's often an accusation that can be levelled at some of these big conferences. I mean, there have been a couple of concrete things emerging so far. There's been the largest MPA, Marine Protection Area, announced, the largest in the world from French Polynesia. There's also been another sort of gathering of states, a growing momentum towards the enforcement potential of the BBNJ, the High Seas Treaty. So there have been another 18 countries that have now signed that. We still need another 11 for that to go into force, but that's, those are both examples also of these kind of legal avenues. It's like the world is kind of turning to the law now to look at protection for the environment. And it's interesting that in the context of international law, most international law focuses on states. with international criminal law, it focuses on individuals. And that gives us the potential for those individuals to not necessarily, I mean, they could be, but not necessarily be in the policymaking world, but they could also be in the corporate world. And when we look at the sort of big transnational corporations, it's not like they're setting out specifically to destroy the environment. They're setting out to engage in their business activities. But what actually happens in practice is that there is this horrific collateral damage, and there are often preventable disasters that emerge. And having a law that could address individuals that are making those decisions is actually really key. And that's why ecocide law is one of the key initiatives that is emerging within this context of legal protection for the environment.
Great to talk to you on the programme today. Sorry to cut you slightly short, but obviously we had those difficulties. Jojo Mehta joining us there from the Nice Summit from Stop Ecocide International.